but man, it drives it. And I love when bass takes the approach of being less of a melodic instrument, becomes more of a percussive instrument. It kind of augments the drum part. Then they do the crashes on two, and it's just a really cool groove. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. A Certain Shade of Green is from the band's second studio album, S.C.E.N.C.E, released in 1997. You know, when I started this channel and these videos many years ago, my goal was to revisit bands I generally liked, but I'd only heard one or two albums, maybe just the hits, and Incubus are another perfect example of a band that falls in that category. Make Yourself is really the only thing I've heard from them. Love that album, but it's been a long time, and you guys are always asking for something from the S.C.I.E.N.C.E album, which is one album before. And before we get started, this quote from vocalist Brandon Boyd in 2018 really piqued my interest for what I'm about to hear. He said, "When we wrote S.C.I.E.N.C E, we didn't know anything about songwriting rules. It was like a chopped salad, schizophrenic album put together, and we did it because we just didn't know any better. We were just having a good time," which is an endearing attitude to have early on as a band, for bands to not feel any sort of pressure or have any sort of threshold on their creative freedom. I think a lot of good spawns from that. But without further ado, here's my first time hearing A Certain Shade of Green from Incubus.
Pot. The magic medicine worked.
Going into hyperspace. Ooh, wow. Okay. Interesting riff there. Okay. Okay. Okay, Make Yourself. My favorite song from that album is The Warmth. And the whole reason I first heard it was an old band in high school was covering that song for a little bit. We were kind of playing around with it. And that was such a warm, fuzzy blanket kind of bass groove and tone, just fat, kind of void of a lot of highs. So I've not heard the side of Incubus that I hear about that's funky, gritty, slap stuff. This must exist more on their earlier stuff, or maybe some of their later stuff. I only know so much. So this is interesting. We have this kind of chromatic type of riff starting out. We're in D minor in the intro. It goes up to a half step, E flat, then up to F, and then kind of jarringly down to B major. And I think down a half step to B flat major. So, interesting setup there tonally. It's kind of a bit of chromatic, it's got a bit of tension. But then here in the slap part, the verse, we go up a whole step to E minor, and I'm kind of listening to the uniqueness of the drum and bass interplay here. Let me play it one more time, because this really stood out to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm very sensitive to the crashes on two. Maybe from listening to Metallica. Lars does these all the time, especially on albums like the Black Album. But I've come to kind of appreciate what it does in terms of rhythmic suspense. You're bobbing your head in a typical 4/4 time signature, and they put the crashes on two, and it kind of makes you wait a bit. It just keeps you waiting. And the way it's working here with that bass groove is really neat, because I think Dirk Lance is playing a tritone here on those accents. So we're down here in E now, E minor, open E string on the slap. Some permutation of that. Then we go. I think he's going up to the C sharp there. So it's creating this arpeggio sound. A little suspenseful. And in typical music video fashion, I'm hearing a slap riff. I see finger style. I get it. It's a music video. But even if it shows it for a bit, at some point, I'll kind of understand a bit more how he's phrasing the framework of that slap riff. But it's just, taking a bar of 4/4, dividing it up into 16th notes and plugging in open strings, muted notes, maybe some pops. But man, it drives it. And I love when bass takes the approach of being less of a melodic instrument, becomes more of a percussive instrument. It kind of augments the drum part. Then they do the crashes on two, and it's just a really cool groove. Let me go back to when that starts. Right here. Yeah. Something like that. And it's almost kind of hard to hear the particulars of anything outside of that open E string. I mean, open E string has a very distinct sound. A lot different than a fretted note. Has that really punchy immediacy. So that's kind of outlining that groove. And then when I try to zoom in and hear any of the inner beat stuff he's doing, maybe some pops or the muted notes, the wash of the drum part is so in sync with it. There's a lot of that pocket hi-hat work. So it's almost like they're just one unit driving the song in this really percussive way. So maybe it'll show it, maybe it won't, but the drum work is blending in so perfectly with all of that bass work. And I find when you play a slap groove using open strings like that and a lot of muting, you have to be careful not to put your hand down where the harmonics ring, because if I lay my hand down and I'm doing this, you can hear those harmonics start ringing out. So you almost have to spread your fingers out or fret them in really strategic ways to make sure it's truly dead. And usually more than one finger is the way to do it. See, I got a harmonic there. You got to really find on your bass where that is, but you can't go. So, you know, that stuff wouldn't really show up in the final recording because it's so subtle, but just kind of a technique thing I think about when playing stuff like this. Okay, let's let it ride a bit. See what happens. It's funky as hell, I'll give it that. Back to this riff, okay. Oh. Yeah, see, the same part earlier was playing fingerstyle. You can see the speed of the thumb if I'm going to go frame by frame. Oh, already cut off. He's fretting something, but you see the thumb going back there. Dun, 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 dun. Just kind of has that rhythmic pattern. Dun, 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 dun. So I'll never get it for sure. This is my first listen, but punchy. Oh, rad. What a cool feel this bridge gave me. I don't know, it just got a little brighter. It didn't really sound like they went too far away from where they were tonally, but something about the arrangement of these chords, maybe the vocals, a total mood shift here. That was really effective. And it kind of was brought in with this, I wouldn't call it a bass solo, just a bit of a bass break. Smoother, I can hear the fingerstyle. I think he was playing fingerstyle in the video there too. But it just introduced a different feel that felt familiar to the original, but maybe just simplified. I really like that. Let me go back to when that transitions. That musically, I like that a lot. All right, out of this. That's a filthy groove. Okay, it's kind of hovering around the same place. It just sounds like a punchier fingerstyle groove. I think my treble's too high. He's got kind of a mid-range punch. If I were to try to dial that in maybe a bit. Yeah, a little bit more in the ballpark. E, D, and C sharp, but he had this... The way it came in was cool out of that slide. Neat twist. I like that. I want to hear one more thing. I think that was the crash on 2 again. They've really stuck with that pattern. 2, yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Next part. Riding on the B flat. Like how it just kind of fell apart compositionally. So it's often the case when I think I know what a band sounds like generally, I'll go back to their earlier stuff and just get a whole different flavor of the band. Because when I think of Incubus, I think of warm, melodic, cozy, kind of spacious, ambient with select punchy and heavy moments throughout. I really love the modality of the bass. You know, you had this holding it down with the roots, fingerstyle, a bit warm. Then it goes into the slap, gritty, percussive. Almost like the bass guitar becomes the drum set with pitched notes. And then that funky kind of bridge with a whole different approach. So this was a great showcase of the instrument by Dirk Lance, who I always read is just a legendary part of their sound. And yeah, this was great. I wonder if I should go back to even their first record. I thought this was the first one, but it turns out there's one before this. But thanks to you guys who've requested a certain shade of green. And if you'd like to support this channel further, please come find us over on Patreon. I do full albums there. I have tons of bass lessons and more if you'd like to learn from me in that way. And if you enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed. I love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.